Hello, and welcome to the first episode of 2021. As with every year going forward, the first day of the year, you will get a video that gives us a retrospective of the year prior and a future perspective of what we plan on learning in the next year. I think it's really important to have a goal for your year. And I have always tried to set this for myself personally. And now I'm making it public so that you guys can hold me accountable to what I want to learn and what I want to help you guys learn. This year, I picked 5 things to learn. As always, I want to pick a language to learn, and I picked Rust. So we will be learning Rust, and you will learn my 3-step approach to learning a language, as well as some general how to program Rust, and I probably will make a whole course out of it. The next thing that we're going to learn is GitOps. The third thing that we're going to learn is MLOps. And the fourth thing is, this is a loaded one, distributed system design and the blockchain. And the last thing is going to be actual machine learning. All right, if those sound interesting, stick around. Later in this video, we're going to dive into each one of these into a little bit more depth about what I mean by each one of them and what you can expect to learn. The other thing that I really think is important when you set out to learn these things is to set goals for them. And these goals are there to let you know that you've succeeded in learning them. They shouldn't be too hard. They should be manageable goals that you can do. All right, so let's dive into each one of these and see what our goals are.
3, 2, 1, 0.
The No Channel.
All right. So each year I like to either learn a new language or a framework for a language that I already know. This year, I really wanted to do a series on how I learn a new language and what works really well for me. And I wanted to share that. And I've also really wanted to learn Rust. I know it a little bit, but not nearly as much as I should. So we're going to learn Rust. Now, you might ask, why Rust over Go? Easy answer is, I already know Go, so I can't actually learn that. Now, I could get better at it, and I plan on getting better at it as I plan to use it this year. So Rust it is. Rust has been on my plate to learn, and there's a lot of reasons I want to learn it. Go is great if you're wanting to get into Kubernetes or you want to pick up a language, learn it fast, and be great with it. Go is fantastic for that. But Go's simplicity is a double-edged sword, and because of that, it lacks a lot. It also has a garbage collection. So if a garbage collector is something that your application can't really support, because we can get into why garbage collectors are of the devil, then Rust really is far superior in that aspect, as it has no garbage collector. So its memory footprint is much easier to rationale about. But this is not a Rust versus Go thing. If you're wanting to get into Kubernetes, cloud native, learn Go. Easy answer. If you want something simple, learn Go. If you're looking for that next step, I really think in the industry, Rust is the next big language. If you look at companies like Amazon, Microsoft, and Google, not Google, they're using Go. Everybody but Google, Rust is a big deal. So I think that Rust is really good to know. All right, so for Rust, my goal, what I'm going to say is completed, and this ties into my 3-step process for learning a language, is at the end of this year, I want to have an open source project written in Rust that I wrote myself. Not that other people can't help, but I want to have written the base core of the application. It doesn't have to be big. It just needs to be a little application that does something useful. And I want to contribute to an open source Rust application. So those are my 2 goals. If I've done those, I will have said that I've learned Rust well enough. All right, the next thing was GitOps. If you don't know what GitOps are, is basically a way of defining your infrastructure and application in Git. So if you are a software engineer and you can define everything from your infrastructure to your application in Git, this means that you can use the version control, something we already know and understand, for compliance and all this other things and tracking and use automation to deploy your app and your infrastructure and those things. And so this is what GitOps are. Now, Kubernetes is part of the thing that empowers that, but we're going to delve deeper into GitOps, and I'm going to show you this year how to use GitOps at your home for your home network and applications, all the way up into your enterprises, and how to utilize them at the enterprise level for compliance and things like this. As my unit of measurement for have I learned GitOps well enough, I think that having infrastructure and application deployed using GitOps techniques is the main thing. So what we're going to do, and we're going to do this early in the year, we're making a null channel website, and that is all going to be deployed using GitOps. And that's going to be my have I learned GitOps well enough. All right, so now the third thing on our list to learn is very related to GitOps, and that is MLOps. What is MLOps? It is machine learning DevOps, and it's basically an extension and a focus of DevOps and GitOps, because machine learning requires a few special things. They don't run everything quite the same, and it covers everything from collecting your data to training your models and serving them and everything in between. So that is MLOps. Now, I know that we started learning Kubeflow and some of those things, and we're going to continue delving into Kubeflow, but Kubeflow is just one piece of the puzzle. There's actually applications that you can put on top or beside Kubeflow that help this as well. And we're going to tie our GitOps into our MLOps so that maybe we can train stuff using GitOps and MLOps, and it's going to be pretty awesome. So that now ties into our GitOps, and what we're going to use as our measurement is that we can actually train and serve an ML model using GitOps. And that's how we're going to know that our MLOps is well understood. All right, so the next thing on our list is kind of the loaded question, is our distributed system design and the blockchain. This is a loaded question or statement, and I meant it and designed it to be, because I think there's a lot of hype around the blockchain. Honestly, it's all around the wrong reasons for the blockchain being awesome. I don't care about coin offerings. This has nothing to do with a coin offering. And I want to do it to empower a distributed system. So I have some very good ideas, and I actually have a project. So our project is going to use both distributed system design and blockchain. And so the very first videos are going to be very much a theory on blockchain so that you can understand how they work in the distributed system. And then we're going to design it and build it out. So stick tuned for that. That will be some fantastic stuff. The very last thing that we're going to learn is machine learning. This ties into the GitOps and the MLOps. We are going to design and train an ML model and serve it using our ML and GitOps, all automatically with all of the infrastructure. And I have never really trained an ML model that did something useful. I've always done like little tests and playing around. So we're going to design one that's actually useful. We're actually going to train it, and it's going to be out there and open source. So anybody that wants to contribute to it is going to be able to. And so that's the last thing that I want to learn. I actually want to learn some of the algorithms behind machine learning and get more in depth in those things, because there's so much to learn there. So that's going to be our year for 2021. These are technologies that I see as hot and in demand. They're places that are going to only expand, whether it be GitOps or MLOps. Rust is on the up and rising. You can see large companies like Amazon and Microsoft using it. And I mean, machine learning, enough said. If these things are interesting, stick around, subscribe to the channel, like this video. We will be learning much, much more about all of these in the coming year. But don't worry, it doesn't mean that I'm going to abandon Kubernetes. I have promised Kubernetes the hardest way with version 120, and I will be doing that this month. Well, I'll be recording it this month. When it comes out, I'm going to actually make it more of a class, see if it's more helpful that way. We'll see. We'll see how that works. And anyways, so I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that it sheds some light on some stuff that I think is going to be big in the coming year. And Go ahead, set yourself some goals, some stuff that you want to learn. We should always be learning every single year. No, you're not too old.